Hi, I'm Connie Gelfer. I'm one of the Nutrition and Administrative Service Consultants continuing Ohio's Nutrition Education video series. Today we will look at the Nutrition Education Plan and we will create a beautiful quilt together. My cutting board, rotary cutter, batting, pin cushion, scissors, rulers, all of these things are tools that I need to put this whole thing together. Your local nutrition plan is your description of how you provide nutrition education in your project. Each participant must be given the opportunity to receive nutrition education twice during their certification period. The certification appointment is counted as the first nutrition education opportunity. The second nutrition education opportunity is offered at the mid-certification education or food pickup appointment. Since individual counseling is provided at the certification or recertification appointment, most of the nutrition education plan will center on what opportunities you provide for the mid-certification appointment. Every 3 years, your director needs to review your project's nutrition education plan to complete the competitive WIC grant, which includes the following questions. Describe the methods that you use to provide nutrition education. How do you evaluate each method? Do you use any outside entities like Home Extension for nutrition education? How do you ensure that outlines and materials are up to date? How do you ensure that your nutrition education plan has portions for each category of participant: women, infants, children, breastfeeding women, postpartum? Is your high-risk plan different from the state's WIC's high-risk plan? And if it is, provide the description. Your director also reports quarterly to the state on their quarterly activity report about nutrition activities that are provided by you to the participants. So let's get back to building our nutrition education plan as though we were building a quilt. In our quilt, we're going to start with a plain white piece of fabric, a blank slate, just like you might with a poster board. But we need to look at other things too. What size quilt? What techniques are required? What equipment do we have on hand? What is our time frame? Does this sound familiar? We need to look at these things for a nutrition education lesson too. We also need to look at the cost of our plan. Fabrics, design, complexity, methods of quilting, time to put it together. Just like you have all these components to put various types of nutrition education that you'll be using to get your message across. First, let's decide the methods that will be used to provide nutrition education. Individual appointments. All of our high-risk appointments are evaluated for individual mid-certification education appointments. Most high-risk participants are followed individually to enable the follow-up of anthropometric measurements, hemoglobin, tolerance of feeding, or other parameters. Remember, if one person in a family group is high risk, you can decide to provide nutrition education for all members of the group individually, or have some members use the general class that fits their category, but you still have to pull the high-risk participant in for an individual appointment. Non-high-risk participants may be seen individually to complete a monthly nutrition education activity or review their progress on their nutrition goal from their certification appointment, such as a weight follow-up for a postpartum mom or progress on Mothers in Motion lessons. Generally, the non-high-risk participants are not seen individually. Here is a picture of Sophia. She's one of our amazing peers at the Clark County WIC program, and she's helping a mom learn how to use a wrap for her baby. She's hoping that the increased skin-to-skin time and closeness with mom will help keep baby calm and improve her breastfeeding. This individual appointment can count as a high-risk appointment with working with breastfeeding problems. Other education opportunities can be fun. Group class, such as themed party classes. Here's a picture of the staff at Guernsey who make a big deal out of Halloween, mixing pots of WIC cereals together and giving out special low-sugar Halloween treats. Another example may be a farmer's market event where recipes using fresh vegetables are offered and participants can try recipes and learn how to use fresh vegetables at home and produce great meals and snacks. Santa has been shown to show up at some clinics, and Mrs. Claus is now teaching a lot of healthy cooking ideas at Guernsey County. A mix of WIC cereals, again, makes great reindeer food that the kids like to try. Not all projects can do classes, though, like this. Waiting rooms are sometimes small or they're shared, and some offices don't allow dress-up days for the staff to allow them to be princesses or any other person they want to be. Although they take more energy, resources, and staff time, class parties can be fun and can provide a lot of education. Many clinics offer special feeding classes just for pregnant moms or for breastfeeding moms, and they can often be done by the peer helpers and breastfeeding coordinators for our new moms. Baby feeding classes, breastfeeding support classes that all have mini lessons can be introduced, and all can be considered as mid-certification nutrition education opportunities. Everyone is familiar with modules. Things like Bye Bye Bottle is a module. These can be locally developed or state issued. Take care to use several that relate to different categories of participants. Bulletin boards. These can be made up locally, or they can be provided by state, and they can be developed by the clinic. WIChealth.org is another example of a place where participants can get self-selected nutrition education modules, including Mothers in Motion lessons, and complete them through the internet. If you haven't looked at their classes on WIChealth.org, take a minute to look at their classes. You can sign up as a WIC staff person, and you can also enter as a participant. You'll be amazed at the opportunities your participants can have for other nutrition education that you do not offer in your clinic. Newsletters are another way that participants can gain information. Some projects develop their own newsletters, or good quality ones can be purchased. Ashtabula newsletters shown here are just beautiful. They have a special one for breastfeeding moms too. They can receive this information, and they can even answer a little quiz on them or about them to turn in that shows that their nutrition education has been completed. In our quilting analogy, it isn't just enough just to show a quilt. We have to make sure that something was gained by looking at it. It can't just be pretty. Therefore, we need to evaluate the effectiveness at helping the participant learn something that would make a positive dietary behavior change. We also need to evaluate the methods and topics that we use to make sure that they're applicable to our participants. Our plan or our quilt can have outside influences. We also allow pre-approved education through the Ohio Extension Office and other entities. This can provide additional variety, colors, or techniques to our quilt. But we still have to make sure we have the background paperwork like approved lesson plans or outlines for all classes. At Mahoning, they had someone reading Hungry Caterpillar to the kids to promote literacy and reading to the children while they sat eating great big lettuce leaves for a nutritious snack alternative. We also have to keep lesson plans and other documentation for classes, modules, bulletin boards, and newsletters. According to policy and procedure, these have to be kept with attendance records for about 4 years. Lesson plans need to be revised as classes change. Frozen characters or Shrek characters may be replaced by the current characters of the day. Besides methods of providing nutrition education, your clinic also has materials that may be provided to participants. If you're providing recipes, you'll need to have all the materials and evaluations on file if there's an addition to your plan. There are several YouTube videos about pamphlets, and someone at the clinic needs to check once a year that you're still using the same materials and updating the file as new items are purchased and used or designs are changed. Step back and review your work. Are there nutrition education opportunities for pregnant, breastfeeding, postpartum, infant, and child participants? Nutrition education opportunities may be in the form of an individual, class, module, bulletin board, internet education, or newsletter. Just remember, mid-certification nutrition activities have to provide for each category. You can mix and match the type of education for each category. One can be seen individually, and everyone can relate to a newsletter or a food demonstration and recipe discussion. Just use your plan to define what you will do each month. For our last touches on our quilt, let's look at the frame or the binding of the quilt, our high-risk plan. Is this the same as the state's high-risk plan found in Chapter 100 of your Policy and Procedure Manual? Or do you have additional indicators that you like to assign high-risk status? Your clinic can be stricter than the state. For instance, state WIC does not require that overweight or high weight gain postpartum moms are seen individually at a 3-month mid-certification appointment because they are not considered high risk. However, your clinic may want to discuss steps to a healthier you or other issues relating to interconception health data, like continuing a vitamin with folic acid through childbearing years or other things. Let's look at the nutrition education plan. In this nutrition education plan, high risk or individual encounters must be available. Lesson plans of classes, modules, bulletin boards, or newsletters must be on file. Copies of nutrition education materials and evaluations must be on file. Materials need updated at least once a year. Your array of education materials must be planned for a minimum of 3 to 6 months in advance. Education must be offered that can be used by each participant, all pregnant, breastfeeding, postpartum, infants, and children. There are a variety of options for different learning styles. There is a variety of topics that are interesting to participants. There's a variety of days and times when education is offered, not just every Monday or every Friday. Some nutrition education plans also include the use of tools for educational help, like cups for 5 to 11-month-olds, when cup use and training is provided as nutrition education, or my plates are given for overweight for height children who would benefit from portion control. 2 last comments need to be addressed today. Interaction with a health professional must be offered at all mid-certification appointments. If the health professional is providing the class, you're all taken care of. If the support staff person is providing a module, a newsletter, having the participant do a bulletin board, that little quiz has to be scored. And then the support staff has to give the opportunity to the participant to talk to a health professional if they want. The scoring can be done by a health professional, but typically in most clinics it's done by the support staff when it's handed in. Participants cannot be denied benefits if they don't want to attend your mid-certification activities, or if they don't want to see anybody. So if they just walk in and want their card filled and they don't want to see anybody, we have to honor that. Consider your participants when creating your materials. If your information is interesting and fun, participants will enjoy it and hopefully will want to join in. The nutrition education plan is for everyone in the clinic. Although the health professionals are the stewards of writing the nutrition education and providing it, the support staff can be used to evaluate bulletin boards or class materials. They can help with themed classes. They can provide ideas for topics, and they can score the modules or bulletin board quizzes. Although not required for your nutrition education plan, think about your clinic and what nutrition education messages you are sending. What kinds of posters and bulletin boards are up? How long do they stay up? What kinds of treats are provided at themed classes or breastfeeding support groups? We want our clinics and our message to be breastfeeding, nutrition, physical activity, and healthy friendly. It isn't that tough to quilt a nutrition education plan, but if you need help, call your nutrition and administrative service consultant and ask for help with the design and materials. Together, let's build beautiful quilts and stay healthy, Ohio.